Hey, it's Zach and I'm back with another real estate expert tip. I think we'll call this one 11,000 and something. Anyways, my message today is really to my investors out there. My investors and my wholesalers, really. If you guys are working this business and you're working with wholesalers, one, you got to make sure you're working with a wholesaler that kind of knows what's going on. If not, then you better know what you're doing so that you can guide that wholesaler in the right way. We get a lot of new wholesalers that get excited about this business, but yet they don't quite really understand what they're doing or how to do it. But let me be very clear. As a wholesaler, you are not selling a property. You're not representing a property. You are selling a contract. That is what you are selling. The assignment agreement that you're using is for that purpose, to let the buyer know that you're assigning your rights to that contract to that buyer. Now, the tip for today is to understand for you investors what you're really buying. That is the tip. And wholesalers, listen up if you're watching this. But as an investor, remember, when you're signing an assignment agreement, when you're writing your name on that agreement, you're saying that you are agreeing to all the terms that are on the original purchase and sales agreement, which means you're buying the agreement as is. All the language, all the intent statements in there, all the disclosures, anything that's in that contract, when you sign that assignment agreement, you're stating that you're agreeing to that and you're buying that. So, what are you really buying? You're buying the contract. That's what you're buying. So for an example, if a wholesaler brings you investors a deal and wants you to sign the assignment agreement and pay them $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, whatever their fee is, and they will not show you the contract, then what are you buying? You're buying thin air, right? You're buying something you haven't been able to see. That's like walking onto a car dealership and saying, hey, I want a new Tahoe. And I want to buy that Tahoe, and the salesman says, well, look, pay me $60,000 and then I'll go get your Tahoe. Well, why would you do that? You have not seen the Tahoe yet. That's just like an investor who's buying from a wholesaler. Before you hand money over, you need to see the contract that wholesaler has put together with that seller so that you can, one, acknowledge that wholesaler actually has the rights to assign that contract with the right disclosures. Number two, what kind of contingencies are put in there? What are the closing dates? What is in the agreement between that wholesaler and that seller that you're buying? That, my friends, is what you're buying. So think about it. When you hand money over to that wholesaler, you're buying that contract. And if you haven't seen it, then you're buying an agreement, sight unseen, that now you have to comply with because you signed off on the assignment agreement and you gave up money. So be clear. If a wholesaler is not willing to show you the contract, then what's he really selling you? Thin air? Something to think about. Some wholesalers might say, well, I don't want to show you the contract, you'll go around me. Look, I don't need to know the seller's name. I've already got the address, right? Because I had to do research. And if I really wanted to, I could dig up who owns that property and go to them. But that's just not who I am as an investor. I have no desire to be that person. And I'm going to tell you this, if you're an investor who thinks like that or does things like that, you won't make it in this market very long. It's too small of a market. Too many people talk. We're very well connected at the Madison County REI, and we know who's doing what to who. We know the people that are shady. We hear their names over and over again. We know the wholesalers that are putting bad deals out there. We know the wholesalers that are lying on the agreements and then trying to keep people's money. We know because we talk. So don't be that person. And for a wholesaler, look, man, if you're afraid to show them the contract because they might figure out who owns it, well, a couple of little website searches is going to tell the buyer who owns it. So I wouldn't worry about that. They're buying your contract. Show them the contract. That's what they're buying. Anyways, that's our tip for the day. I hope it hits home with you. I hope you think about it. And until the next one, we'll see you soon. Bye.